All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of our podcast, Inclusion Matters Podcast with Inclusion Matters Pro Wrestling. Yes. Anyways, today we'd like to welcome two people. We'd like to welcome back our old co-host, Pat. Yeah, he's just Pat because we don't have a fancy little nickname for him yet because we just hired him back and he has to earn the nickname. So, and then, of course, we'd like to welcome our guest, Mr. Jack Ledger, who I hear tears up the indies in North Dakota and everywhere he goes, and had some phenomenal matches with some big name people that we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about, and then I need to introduce the crippled Messiah. He's just because, you know, he has a Orange Cassidy fascination, so he's just okay. And of course, I'm the man that every woman wants, every woman talks about. I'm the heartbreaker. So, welcome to the show, Jack. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you for having me. My name's Jack Ledger. I go by names as the Ice King, and I'm from Minot, North Dakota, and I'm 23 years old now. Yeah, that's right. I'm 23 years old now, and I'm mostly in the north, and that means I'm in Minnesota, North Dakota, all the way to Canada, Montana, but sometimes in the south in Georgia, and trying to go out to more places. And I'm gonna have more to come, but find me on YouTube under Jack Ledger Wrestling, and then just look my name up and look into me.
Very awesome. So, who are some of your wrestling heroes growing up?
So growing up, my first one ever was Hulk Hogan, because that's who got me into wrestling, watching Rocky 3. And then it went from John Cena to Jeff Hardy to kind of more of like the modern time Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, then honestly back to John Cena. But now I have a wide variety. When I see good wrestling, I like it. But the main one would be Hogan's the start, and John Cena was my pull.
Very nice. All right, well, let's just dig right into it. I believe Mr. Messiah said you wrestled a gentleman by the name of, well, I'll use his TV name now, but however, I totally despise this name. Mr. Johnny TV, a.k.a. Johnny Mundo, a.k.a. Johnny Morrison.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What do you want to talk about with it? What do we want to hear?
What was it like wrestling him? What was the match like? Just whatever.
You can tell when somebody is good just by wrestling them. And he's one of those people that if he wasn't already famous, I would have been like, why aren't you on TV? At the time I wrestled him and he wasn't on AEW yet. And he told me that's his goal, is to make it there. He's like, I'm trying, my wife is on AEW. My goal is to make it there too. And I said, I don't see why not. He isn't yet. And I knew it was just a matter of time till we see him there. And lo and behold, there he is now, living the dream. And I felt very nervous going into it, but I was very comfortable with him. Really cool guy, really down to earth, really athletic, and crazy talented. So that's what I gotta say for him. Like Johnny TV, amazing athlete, amazing person.
Very nice. And before we have Pat ask a question, I just want to say, yes, Johnny TV is an awesome wrestler, but it takes, somebody that can hang at that level. And watching that match, you guys flowed really well, like from one spot to the next. So
yeah, absolutely. he was really trustworthy to me, and we never met each other, but it felt like we had before. We had really really good chemistry, and I honestly wanted the match to go longer, but we're just like, eh. What, he wants to come back, he wants to wrestle me again, so give me the time, give me the place. I would love Jack versus Johnny too.
Sign me up to watch that one.
Yes, absolutely.
So what was it like wrestling Gino?
Wrestling Gino? Well, I wrestled him twice. First time I met him, I was like, okay, like, I see who this guy is. Like, he's out there. He's all around the country, and he is what gimmicks need to be. He knows how to be who he is, if that makes sense. When that camera turns on, Gino Told You So turns on. Like, he knows his part and he plays it damn well. And then the first time we wrestled, he was really good. And then the second time was about a year later, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit more. Still amazing. And even better, he has a busy schedule and he's staying out there. I remember he said he's a dad and getting older, and he knows this is what he wants to do, and he's so busy but still stays in the business and does it damn well. And I'm actually about to wrestle him again in a triple threat in Montana in 2 weeks at Flashback. It's going to be me versus Gino versus Matt Cross. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to do that again and see who wins, because that's the first step in the tournament to become the first ever Montana Flashback champion. So I can't wait to get in the ring with Gino again, because it's always something.
Right. And I believe that show is called Jurassic Pain, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
The show is called Jurassic Pain, and I'm really excited because they made the whole show kind of decorated to be all like dinosaur like, and they're really going out. So I'm really excited. This is going to be technically their first show, because the first show they had was Below Zero Wrestling from Fargo, North Dakota, and Montana's Flashback. They kind of like joined together. Yep. And that was his first, but this is technically the first one all by himself. So I'm really excited to see how that turns out.
Go ahead, Heartbreaker, you're up.
Well, before we do that, let's thank our first two new sponsors, El Ranchero Family Mexican Restaurant and Precision Power Washing. Now, on this podcast, we enjoy the ever so popular top 5 questions. So we're going to throw the first one at you. Top 5 indie wrestlers, in your opinion, today?
Well, right away, I'm going to throw NDS in there. NDS is this tag team from Minnesota with Levy Cruz and Riley Jackson. They are my best friends. They are also people that give me amazing advice. They're way better than me, and they know what they're doing. They're all around the north, then they go south. Somehow they go out of the country. They're everywhere, and they're amazing. And they're the best tag team I have ever wrestled, but also my best friends. So those two are for sure on there. So are we doing ones that I know, or are we doing former? Like, can they be former?
It can be former. They can be former. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Let's throw Kyle Pro from Minnesota too. I'm throwing him in there. I never wrestled him one-on-one, so he's one of those people that I got my eye on. So those are 3 down already. Now I'm gonna move into everyone that isn't signed, but got my eye. It's hard to know who is on the indies and who's not in AEW and stuff like that. So maybe Cardona, Matt Cardona.
Yep.
I'm gonna put him in there because I thought he was amazing in WWE, and they always say Zack Ryder, like the woo 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 type, all that. But even past like his push, like when he was just wrestling people like Stardust and Kalisto, he was still amazing. When I was in the factory, I would watch him and kind of learn how to have a basic match because that's what they're having him do. You can't be a pro unless you're perfect on basics. So Matt Cardona for sure, and I just went to NWA recently as like backstage hand, so I saw a lot of amazing indie people on there. So I'm trying to pick wisely. It's my last one. Maybe I will say, let's say Flip Gordon. Flip Gordon was amazing.
Good
Seeing the way he moved, how smart he was, the amazing, like he has an amazing physique for a man like his height. Like I'm a short guy. Everyone's taller than me. That sucks. And it kind of, I think he can say like he's not the tallest. He's taller than me though. So, but he moves like butter. It's insane. So Flip Gordon on there too.
Nice. Who are some of your biggest rivals?
Come again?
Who are some of your biggest rivals?
Biggest rivals? For sure, me and Bobby. My brother Bobby Brennan. He biggest rival for sure, because our tag team is called Friend or Foe because we're never forever on the same page. We'll either be friends or we'll be fighting, but I guess that's siblings for you. So we're friend or foe. We're always on a good page, and then head to head in something crazy, in a bloody brawl. Then we're tag team, and then we'll be in a hardcore against each other. It's just we're never on the same page. So we finally started wrestling each other in like main events and like letting eyes see it. But I don't want people to get bored of it because I'm for sure not bored of it. He's my favorite opponent too. So I love just not pulling my punches against him. And also Gino Rivera, because he runs his mouth and comes after me, and then I beat him, and then he runs his mouth again and says he wants another shot at the Below Zero Championship, and then he pins me unfairly and takes my title, my beautiful blue that I had for close to 500 days. So he's the one holding my blue-eyed baby right now. So also Gino Rivera, Bobby Brennan, and Gino Rivera.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right, Pac.
Before
go
he
ahead.
answers,
Sorry.
I was saying, yeah, and unfortunately, I think when he beat you for that beautiful blue-eyed baby, I think that made him the 18-time champion there also.
Yes, then that's crazy because I don't even know how many time champion I am. I have to think about it, but it's a low number. I don't have a lot of titles in my belt. I'm only 23, so hopefully more to come. But you know, I envy that, him being 8
Yeah, I mean,
time.
it was amazing. But nope, I did not mean to cut you off, Mr. New co-host, ex-new co-host. But anyways, go ahead.
If you were either in AEW, who would you number one opponent would be to wrestle, and then the same thing for WWE?
MJF. MJF is the best wrestler today. Besides, it's either Cody Rhodes or MJF. MJF is 28 years old, and he knows the business better than over half and over a quarter, like over 3/4. Like he knows wrestling better than anyone he's locked up with. And if you want to learn from somebody, watch MJF, because he knows how to do advanced and basic. He's making people pop from scoop slams today in 2023, where some people think you need to make them pop by doing power bombs through light tubes and all of that stuff. This is insane. He's the perfect wrestler. And so MJF for AEW. And WWE, I would love to wrestle Cody. Cody is kind of that dream match that I would put on the top of the kingdom right there. That's that number one. That's my number one that I would want to say I did. So Cody and MJF right there.
Wow, that's a great two people.
Yeah, I mean they're the top of each company, so I guess. But if you would ask me last year when they weren't, even though Cody kind of was, when Jon Moxley was top of AEW, I would have said MJF and Cody Rhodes.
Ouch, that's harsh.
Only because you're a huge Jon Moxley fan.
I'm sorry. I don't do deathmatch. I don't do deathmatch.
No, that's fair.
That's fair.
It is.
That's fair. Go ahead, Messiah.
Can you tell us a little bit about training at the factory?
Training at the factory is an experience for sure. I was there before it was Nightmare Fitness, so it was kind of a gym that they shared with baseball players, football players, track runners, stuff like that. It had a handful of people in there, and so it was always like we got to see all these football players that are probably going to be in the NFL very, very soon, and meet some amazing people. But also the setup was just so different, but so nice. Right now it's very clean, very perfect how they want it. It's all Nightmare Factory in there. It's beautiful. But then it's kind of like looking back at your first, if somebody got a home, they're like, I kind of like looking back at my first trailer. Like, that thing was perfect. That's kind of what it was like. It was amazing. I loved the camp that I was in. I was in camp 6 and 7 because I broke my hand the second to last day of my camp, so I wasn't able to do my graduation match, my showcase match, and I had to wait until next showcase. So I met a lot of friends down there: Casey Rocker, Caleb Kennedy, and those were night class people. But Alexi Lev, Shoot Taylor, Larry Lazard, all those, Teriyaki. Yep, that's his name, Terry Yaki. But they were all great people. They're all still down there. But I'd love to see them again. It was cool to learn the more ins of wrestling, like the psychology aspect, and that's what I felt like I was lacking. And learning that at the factory was very helpful. I am a better wrestler for sure. 2 times, 3 times better wrestler than I was before I stepped foot in the factory. And doing promos with Cody was one of the most helpful things ever, because he's one of the best on the mic, possibly the best on the mic. And it kind of brings you out of that shell, that wrestling shell that you need to come out of to become a pro wrestler. You can't be shy. This is an industry where you cannot be shy. So doing the promos is what makes you a better wrestler.
On the counter, please.
All around, it was a great experience, and I kind of wish I could go back, but it's so expensive in Georgia. But one day I'll be back there. I'll see all my buddies and all that. But it was a great experience.
Got you. So follow up to that really quick. Did you have like a oh my god moment at all when you were doing, since Cody was one of your dream matches when you were in there doing promos? Like, so, I'm sure you kept it professional, but I mean,
yeah, absolutely,
and did what you had to do, but
because every wrestler is a fan of wrestling, so you gotta be a fan of some wrestlers. And growing up, when I was 10, that's when I wanted to be a wrestler. And 2010 was kind of Cody's singles year, and that's when he started undashing and dashing Cody Rhodes and all of that Intercontinental Championship run. And that was my favorite wrestler. I was a SmackDown guy. I loved watching the SmackDown Money in the Bank, Christian One More Match, all that stuff, and Hall of Pain. That whole era was my favorite era. So undashing Cody Rhodes is my favorite. So seeing him kind of not as a fan aspect was insane. Not seeing him high-fiving him over a guardrail as a kid and stuff like that. It was insane. And you can tell someone's famous just by looking at them. Like when Billy Gunn, when I met Billy Gunn, seeing him, I was like, holy shit, like this guy has to be famous. Like, just he looks like you just pulled him out of a TV and popped him there. So that's what it was kind of like with Cody. You saw like the blonde hair and the tattoo. Sits down and he goes, what do you want to talk about? Like he's Cody Rhodes. Like that, like Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes. Like, if that makes sense. On the TV is the same person outside in person. It was very cool. It was very cool.
All right, Pat, go ahead.
What are your all-time top 5 tag teams?
Top 5 tag teams. I'm gonna, for sure, this one's kind of a weird one, but I'm gonna throw Adam Cole and MJF in there because they brought my love back for tag team. I kind of fell out of it, so like seeing that tag team like brought me back in. And so double clothesline tag team right there. Another one, number 2 would probably be let's say the Revival, FTR, because they understand tag team wrestling more than I think anyone. So I'm gonna throw them in there. Then let's also say part of me wants to say like Macho Man and Hogan, but I can't do that. They're better like rivals and stuff like that. But this one might be kind of weird. Let's say Stardust and Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
Because my brother was a big Wade Barrett guy, and I'm a big Cody guy. So I always followed Cody, whether he had the face paint on or not. I loved it, honestly, because it was just kind of like, those are our guys. Like, that tag team is us. So that tag team, Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater, whether they're Nexus or Core, they're high up there. I always loved them. And now I'm down to the last one, so I kind of gotta choose wisely. These are a lot of questions. Whenever I do podcasts, I always get like the same questions, like how'd you get your start and all that. So usually I go on them so blind because I already answered them probably like 30 times before. So I kind of want to look into maybe like NXT, something with that, because I used to be a big NXT guy when it was like Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, that era, the Finn Balor era. Maybe it would be Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. That tournament was really fun to watch. So watching them together, I just kind of take a little bit of Finn Balor and Samoa Joe and put it into Team Friend or Foe. Like, I pick and choose. They totally rubbed off on me.
Got it. So, what's the craziest match you've ever been in?
Craziest match I've ever been in. Just recently, it would be me versus Bobby Brennan for the Below Zero Championship. It was just a normal match, singles, count out, disqualification, all is on, and but it's just so hard hitting, and it was so personal. I took the barricade powerbomb from him.
Ooh.
And that was really insane. And then I took a pile driver on an apron from him. That was insane. And I know I've been in like ladder matches before and stuff like that, but it compared to that match, it was just so hard hitting. It felt like a car crash. It was that has to be number one right there.
Got it. All right, Heartbreaker, you're up.
Let's see here. Top 5 female wrestlers of all time, or in your opinion.
Toni Storm. Toni Storm is somebody who really understands strong style. Her coming from stuff like NXT and AEW, Japan, all of that. She understands the hard hitting and understands wrestling. So I'm going to put her. Alexa Bliss. She's the perfect person to look at for a WWE female wrestler. She is entertaining, and she does a lot of cosplay gear, and I'm all about that. So that's where I found my interest from her. Rhea Ripley, I don't even need to explain why Rhea Ripley is, because she's holding the gold, and she's had possibly the best match at WrestleMania this year. So talented. Then let's say Hiro Shirai. I loved her. She did great. That's kind of back to my NXT days. Now, last one. Let's make it good. Jamie Hayter. How did I forget that? That's my list right there. I think that's the perfect women's list right there.
That is a great list.
It's if anyone looks at any of those wrestlers, they will be like, "Wow, wrestling isn't fake." You look at those people, you're gonna be like, "Wow, these people are just as good as the men." So that's my list right there.
And I 100% agree with you on the Rhea Ripley match at WrestleMania. I think
I was so entertained.
Yeah.
I don't watch too much of like women's wrestling in for WWE because as you can hear my list, like I think there's only 2 of them in WWE right now, and then one of them's gone. So when I watched that match, I was blown away. I was like, that was amazing. That, like, kudos to those girls, those women.
Yeah. All right, Pat, go ahead.
Name your 5 favorite managers.
5 favorite managers. Can I even name that? Okay, let's see. We love a good Stephanie McMahon. I love stuff like that. I love people like Stephanie McMahon and Maurice. I love women managers because if they do something, you can't hit them. You can't hit a woman. So it's like,
right.
If they do something, all you got to do is be mad about it, like cry about it. That's all. You gotta just be better, you know. So I'm gonna put those 2 in there. Those are my favorites personally. Then Paul Bearer, because growing up I was an Undertaker guy. Loved my Undertaker, and that goes to Undertaker with the purple gloves. I loved it. I had a DVD on it. I watched it over and over again. There was Undertaker versus Undertaker on there, and that match just blew me away. It's something I haven't watched in a while, actually, so I hope it still holds up. But that one, I loved seeing the tombstone turn back into the tombstone and the sit-ups. And I need to go back and watch that, honestly. So Paul Bearer, let's think. It's kind of a pretty hard question. I did like people like Jimmy Hart, because he did like the talking for people who couldn't really do it. Rick Rude doesn't need someone like Jimmy Hart, but like the people that couldn't do as good of a job on the mic as people like that. And gotta pick this one very carefully. I know there's already somebody that I'm gonna say someone, and then later on I'm gonna be watching wrestling or something like that. That I'm gonna be like, dang it, why didn't I think of that? I hope I can count this one. Dusty Rhodes, because he was there so many times with Cody, like all from like Randy Orton all the way to like him versus Randy Orton that time, all the way to him managing Goldust and Cody. I love the whole him whip off the belt and walking up to Dean Ambrose. I loved it. So I'm gonna put Dusty Rhodes is a legend. So I'm gonna put Dusty. I don't care what anybody says. I'm gonna say Dusty, right there.
Hey, that one works.
It was kind of a weak list, but that's just who I am. I'm not a heel. I don't have a manager. So.
So I was watching a match of yours doing research, and I might get the guy's name wrong that you wrestled, but it was I think it was Nick Martinez and you, and like he set up a stipulation where like he could do everything outside the ring, like it was like falls count anywhere, no disqualification, but it was only for him, and you had to stay like under the traditional like rules.
Yes.
That was laid out for. Was that like a hard like match to wrestle? Because I would think you would have to constantly remind yourself as you're getting slammed and stuff. I can't do this back.
His name is Nick Nelson. Close, but his name was Nick Nelson. The natural Nick Nelson. The way I looked at it was, I'm never really in hardcore matches or anything like that. So it was, in that aspect, it wasn't tempting to grab something. It's one of those things that's tempting when he is saying, hit me with a chair, something like that. But you just got to find a way to do it without getting disqualified. He's not a big weapons person either. Goes to show how it kind of backfires on him. But if I was facing somebody who is, then it might have been more tempting or a harder match. But it went full circle. He brought in the chair, and the chair brought him out. So in a match like that, you just got to be smarter and know the game. And that's what, now that I did that match, if I ever run something like that again, I think I'm a little bit more prepared. So yes, it was difficult in a way, but not in the way people may think.
Got ya. All right, Heartbreaker, you're up.
Okay, so what is your pre-match and post-match routine?
So my pre-match routine was eat a Reese's. I would always eat a Reese's, but that kind of died out. But it's always have an energy drink. I always need something to wake me up, because lately I've been going to the ring and feeling tired. So drink an energy drink, because it's gonna be a tough one. And I do like this gallop thing, where it's like kind of just warming your body up and just gallop and swing my arms around, kind of get warmed up and like kind of fast stretching. I don't even stretch when I work out. I really should, and that this might be my wake up call, but it's just like you gotta like shake. You gotta shake everything out of you, kind of wake yourself up. Because like I said, I'm always tired before a match for some reason. So that's my pre match. Post match is sit my ass down. I sit there. I try to find my water that I had before I went out and can't find it, and just open a new water. Catch my breath. I just sit there and I probably don't touch my phone for like a good 2 hours, just because I'm too busy talking to other wrestlers, cooling down. Then I go straight to a merch table, and so post match it's just chillax. Like you just finish. You finish the movie. You finish the show. Just if everything's okay, then just take a breather. So that's my post match.
Wow.
Wow. All right, Pat, you're up.
All right, this is a little off the wall one. What is your favorite snack or cookie?
So there's these cookies that I make that are, or my mom makes now I do. They're like a vanilla pudding mixed into the cookie, and don't cook them too long. They're all soft. Oof, so good. I don't eat too many sweets, but there's this new one that I saw. There's this place called Crumble Cookie. They had a French toast cookie. It's hard to explain, but there was like syrup on top. I love syrup.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like some frosting that kind of looks like butter. Oh my god! I got to the car. It's huge. I got to the car and we just devoured that thing, and then got another one, devoured it, and I was like, I need to slow down. I need to stop. So I think that's it. The crumble cookie, French toast cookie. That one.
Gonna have to remember that.
Yeah, I love soda too. That's that. I drink maybe 2 Pepsis a day or something. It's bad. At least one, or I get crabby. People have nicotine. I have Pepsi. That's that keeps me sane.
So this one might be a little more challenging, but it always seems to be fun. If you could book a WrestleMania card, no questions asked, from any generation, and indies are available, who would be on your card? Let's go 6 matches.
Okay. Dang. Let's say I'm gonna throw American Nightmare versus the Indie God in there. I really want to see that match. I want to see the match where the people they are now.
Yeah.
Then I would love to see someone like Morrison versus Miz, because we never really got that, especially on a main event caliber. Like, I'm not going to say they're the main event. I'm not going to say whoever the main event's going to be, but I'm going to put that up there. Let's do Seth Rollins. Has to be on there. He's like top 3 best wrestlers today. So Seth Rollins. Should we break the 4th wall or break the forbidden door with it? Seth Rollins versus who hasn't he like really fought? That's a good question right there.
That is a good question.
We could do Seth Rollins. Maybe Seth versus something like Seth versus Jeff Hardy. That'd be something.
That would be something.
Immortal Jeff Hardy. That kind of Jeff Hardy.
Oh yeah, the little
I wanna
darker
feel-
side of Jeff.
I want a heel Hardy and visionary kind of like anti-hero Seth. And then maybe Matt Hardy as a manager, something like that. And then let's get a little crazy. This is when Edge is retired. Let's make Edge the manager for Seth. That probably
Ooh.
going a little crazy right there. That's like a video game. We need a tag team match in there too. Let's throw the Revival. They have to be in it. Versus somebody like it's like I want to throw in like Adam Cole and MJF, but we just saw that. But let's say maybe something like the Revival from wrestling DX. Let's say Revival versus DX. Why not? Let's go crazy. And if Matt Cardona couldn't make it, let's do Cody versus Triple H. That one's always something I wanted to see. But last match, let's do a women's match. Rhea versus Jamie. Rhea Ripley versus Jamie Hayter. That would be a match. I don't know stipulations to matches. Maybe just so we can make fans happy, throw one of them in a Hell in a Cell. But I don't want to take away from the amazing art that they would make with these matches.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's kind of an off the top of my head. No paper in front of me.
One match I've always wanted to see was Seth. If it was crossing, like, the Forbidden Door thing, would be like the visionary Seth Rollins versus MJF.
That would
not for
really good. So I wanted to find where MJF would be on there, but I was like, who would he do good against? That would probably be my pick.
Yeah,
because that would be an amazing match. Like Jeff, I love Jeff, but he's not MJF, as MJF would say. But they're not MJF. He's not MJF. So those are like they're one of like tops in each company. So yeah, I like that. That was a better choice.
I would have to throw a 6-man in there.
Oh yeah, what would you think?
House of Black
Okay.
against Rick and Scott Steiner and Braun Breaker.
Okay. Braun Breaker is okay. So
Rick
all
Steiner's
that three,
son.
there would be it would be 3-on-3. Okay. Yeah, that'd be something. That would
yeah.
be a very. Why don't they do that on AEW? that
would make
but-
history up.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, for sure, that would be a fun one. My brother loves Scott Steiner. He loves the Steiners, so he would have fun watching that. I mean, they're
Gotcha.
kind of old. I don't think any of them passed away. Did any of them pass away?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Didn't think so. But that would be. Oh wait, Braun's like the top of NXT right now, so that's why. That's a big reason. But for sure, that's a good one too.
All right, Heartbreaker, you're up.
What advice would you have to an up-and-coming wrestler and or up-and-coming promotion?
Up-and-coming wrestlers is really learn those basics on rolls and what side a headlock's going to be on and how to Irish whip. There's many different ways. Some people at the factory didn't like my Irish whip, but there's no wrong in that aspect. There's just different flavors. As long as it's ice cream, there's really shitty flavors of ice cream, but then don't make that one your favorite one. But yeah, it's really learn the basics, really understand the basics. Don't do too much and don't be jaded. There's a lot I see nowadays that think they're better than the spot they're in. And some maybe are, but a lot of them aren't. Or they're like, I think I should be getting matches against the top of promotions, let alone against ex-WWE people. And they're doing headlocks on the wrong side, and that might be a little too technical for people who aren't wrestlers and stuff like that. But it's something we do look at, and we catch. We see pictures of somebody in a headlock, and it's with their right arm, and you're like, okay, that we don't know the basics, and then we're always like, who trained you, and stuff like that. But it's learn those basics, because you can have a match with those. Learn how to do wrestling. And another big one is please work out. You don't need to look like John Cena. You don't need to look anything. You don't need to look like you're in crazy shape. You don't even need to really look in shape. Just as long as you're trying, as long as you're staying active and staying, like, if you love wrestling, then it's something you gotta do for it. I hate going to the gym, but you just gotta do it. And if you don't, then it's like, why aren't you trying to better yourself in wrestling? Because they're kind of just like, oh, I'm just gonna show up and wrestle. Everyone should work out and wrestling. That's the main thing. I'll never talk bad if somebody wasn't in the best shape and they told me they're working out, I'd be like, good that you passed. You passed. That as long as they are trying. I'm a busy person, but I still fit it in somewhere and somehow in some way. So that's my advice. But promotions, you don't need big names like Chris Masters and Matt Cardona and ex-WWE people on your first show, let alone first handful of shows, because that's a lot of money right there. They're not cheap. They, as you can see. So it's like, maybe do a handful of shows, work up that money, work up that crowd, and then get somebody like Carlito. Get a WWF person coming in. Get Mark Henry to sign stuff. It's like, doesn't need to spend a lot of money. Let us draw people, and then the ex-WWE people or AEW people come in and have them draw. And then the second thing for promotion would be, I just had it. What was it? A card doesn't need to be crazy. It doesn't need to have tables match right here, and then hardcore match right here, and then false count. And like, maybe you can throw one stipulation in there, but a lot of times you don't need it. a lot of times you do not need it. If you have wrestlers that know how to wrestle, then your show will be good. Watch Raw, like watch most shows that are on weekdays and stuff like that. Like there's pay-per-views that had no stipulations. They didn't need them. They just had normal matches with amazing competitors. Try to book the most amazing competitors that are in the indie scene, and they will put on they promise you a good show. So that's my other advice.
That's great advice.
Absolutely.
So what's the craziest crowd you've ever wrestled in front of?
That's a good question. Really good question. One time we had a show here in Minot, my hometown. We drew like 500 plus people in there. So that was awesome. That was amazing. I love that. That more people, oof, so good. That was in Cloud9 wrestling. And then anytime Below Zero is in Fargo at the Sanctuary, those are amazing crowds. That's one of the craziest. But they had a louder than a bomb crowd in Bismarck, North Dakota. That was one of the craziest to me. But yeah, I haven't had too crazy of crowds. I never had anything like an AEW where there's babies stacked on babies right there, like crazy people, like going all there. But yeah, I think maybe North Dakota, Below Zero, and Bismarck. I think that might be the craziest one. It was just so loud.
All right, Heartbreaker, you're up.
All right. Well, I'm just going to ask one of the last questions. So you want to let us know when your next match is and hit your socials one last time for us?
Yes. I have a very, very busy schedule coming up for almost the rest of the year. Next weekend, I have a match here in my hometown, Minot, North Dakota, at Strikeforce. It's the Blue Rider Bar downtown. I'm the booker for that one. It's kind of my promotion. So that's my next one. Finally getting back in the ring after feels like 4 months. Hope I'm not too rusty, but that one, I think it's going to be a crazy crowd. So that might top the craziest crowd I ever had. That's my next show. Then in 2 weeks, that's Flashback, where I do the triple threat against Gino and Matt Cross. Whoever advances gets to be in a 1-on-1 for the first ever Flashback champion. That is something on my calendar I'm going for. And then a lot of it's Below Zero in North Dakota. That's a lot of that coming up. My feud with my brother, and hopefully climbing back to the gold. But a lot of that in there. Sprinkle of different opponents, different states, and hopefully different country. Going to Canada maybe soon. But those are my next up-and-coming stuff for my career. Then if you want to see my matches, please go to YouTube and look up Jack Ledger Wrestling, and it'll show most of my matches that I've recorded and got footage of. My Instagram is Jack_Ledger_Ice_King. And I don't really use Facebook, so it doesn't really matter. You can find it, but I'm not going to really post. Same with Twitter. You can find it. I'm not really going to post. But those are my social medias if you want to find me.
All right, Pat, you got one more question?
I actually do. What was the worst injury you ever sustained?
For sure, breaking my hand in the Nightmare Factory. It was my practice match for my showcase. I was on the top rope, and what do you know? It's Teriyaki. He runs up to me, gives me a high knee. I go fall down onto the turnbuckle. I just sat down, and I guess my hand, here's like the rope right here. I went to go grab the rope, but it went like that.
Oh.
And it snapped this bone right in half.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. It was there's a scientific name for it and all that.
Sounds like a compound fracture.
Yeah, it was something like a 4. It had a 4 in the name, but I'm not the best with them. But yeah, it snapped right in half. I finished the match. I won. Let's go. But after, I was like, man, I really like cracked my finger. And then one of our coaches, Baron Black, was like, he was trying to talk to us about the match. He's like, dude, are you good? Like, what's wrong? I was like, yeah, I really like bent my finger back or something. And then it was like hurting, and like I started training a little bit, and I was like, this still hurts. So then I went back to my place and then was like, maybe I should go. I have work tomorrow. Maybe I should go see the doctor. The doctor went there. He x-rayed me. He's like, well, you're not going to work tomorrow. Snapped right in half. I was like, you're kidding. But it was a clean break. I just had to wear a brace for about 3 months. I wrestled with the brace on too. Kind of a crazy move, but I did it, right? It hurt. I could have did it a lot better, and I could have wrestled with it, honestly, but I wanted the showcase match to be the best match. I have a lot of eyes on that, but that was for sure the worst injury I got in wrestling.
Got ya.
Go ahead, Messiah.
We want to thank you for coming on. It was a true honor.
Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun. I love doing podcasts, so I'm always up for them. And always reach out. If you want to reach out, I have Instagram. That's my best. I don't really go on Facebook that much. A lot of people do, but I'm also 23, so I don't really use Facebook. But absolutely, yeah, it was really fun. I'm happy I was able to fit this in.
And the other thing I want to bring up is Heartbreaker brought up that we have Inclusion Pro Wrestling, which we're going to launch in November. We would love to have you come and wrestle for us down in Washington and one of our shows that we're doing.
Please keep me in mind. I would love to be there. You haven't had your first show, have you?
Nope, not until November 25th.
So perfect. I will even put that date down because I'm trying to hit every state in America. And Washington is one of those ones that I've been polling, and I would love to have you guys as my first time wrestling there. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. It will definitely keep you updated.
Absolutely. I'll write that right down right now, actually. What, November 25th?
25th or 26th. 25th is the Saturday.
Either the 25th or the 26th. We're still, but it's right in that realm. So.
And what is this called again? What is the promotion?
Inclusion Pro Wrestling.
All right. Yeah, I wrote it down because I am very interested in going there and crossing that off my list. I'm going to get a big America map, put it in my garage, and just cross off where. And if I win a champion there, a championship there, I'm gonna put like a gold star sticker. That's my next
Sounds
to win a title for every state.
every state.
Absolutely.
That sounds awesome.
So I know you don't have to. I know you don't have to sell him on it, there, Messiah. But go ahead and tell him why it's inclusion.
So the reason it's inclusion is I have cerebral palsy, so I'm in a wheelchair.
Absolutely.
And two of the other people that are on our board of directors also have physical disabilities. So the whole mission statement of our promotion is people have told us for years that we couldn't be in wrestling because of the disabilities. Because it's not going to work. Wrestling is a physical sport. So our mission is to say, you know what? You told us no. Look what we did, and we're going to do this in spite of you and make this, one of the better promotions.
Absolutely. That is amazing. You made it. You're in wrestling. Don't let anyone tell you that you aren't. So I'm very happy for you guys, and that is actually amazing. That is amazing.
So
perfect. Absolutely.
All right. Did you hit the sponsors, Nate?
No, you want to hit the new pressure washing one? I'm still trying to memorize that one.
It's power washing, not pressure washing, but
See?
precision power washing. El Ranchero's Mexican Family Restaurant. Nathan.
And then it's the other two are the CARE program, which stands for Community Action Reaching Everybody, and you can get a hold of the person that's in charge of that on Facebook, which is Becky Bernhardt, and Bruce Nichols Painting for all your painting, pressure washing, and lead removal needs, and you can find him on Angie.
All right. So for the Messiah, for Pat, for our guest Jack Ledger, I'm the Heartbreaker. We'll see you guys next time.